everybody, my name is Josh Urban, and I was talking to a buddy of mine. This one's dedicated to Gabe. I was talking to him, and I was like, man, you know, want to write something for people. And he said, yeah, man, but nobody reads anymore. But we do watch people read, and then we listen to people do podcasts. And I love doing this writing, and I thought, well, what if we did a short bit where I wrote something? You can check it out on my blog, joshurban.substack.com, and then I'll just read it to you on a video. You know, we got our typewriters, we got our old books, they're all hipster here, sort of a lit podcast. But I don't know where it's going to go. We're going to see what happens. I want this to be useful and of service to people. You know, well, let's give it a shot. So I do this newsletter every week, and I should tell you where the story of the Nighthawk newsletter comes from. It was from Girl Trouble. What isn't from Girl Trouble? And I was feeling, oh, sorry for myself, and I decided to read the news. And that actually worked that one time, and I said, what's going on here? The state of New York wants to give lonely old people robots to talk to so they don't feel alone. I said, not while I can write. Was this 1984? Was this Fahrenheit 451? This is not on my watch. So I started writing letters, but like almost sent it to random people in retirement homes, and they're gonna be like, who's Josh and why is he writing me a letter? So I started the Nighthawk, and this is volume 153 came out today. So here's where we go. It's always published a day early. So, well, let's get into it. The Nighthawk, America's Social Bulletin, volume 153, May 20th, 2025, joshurban.com. Dig the sponsorship. The fields are green. This is not news you'd see on a screen, but you might like to know. The fescue is setting seeds ready for the first hay cutting of the year. I waded through this waving sea, waist deep, listening to a bird here and there. The Indigo Bunting is back, singing his lazy tune. Soon the summer will set in, stern, ripping sheets of heat from the baking grass, building silent mirages. The bunting will fly through the shimmering air. Electric blue plumages spark from the furnace or a bit of molten sky landing on a branch field side. Today he looked like some gem flitting across the emerald grass, calmer than July. A Saturday afternoon in May is soft. A tiger swallowtail visited the late blooms of the blackberries. I watched his yellow wings, carnival-like, somehow sad in the sinking light. I used to think that the showmen in the city were the bright lights, but now suspect they're pale imitations of the butterflies of the fields. But both have to face Sunday evening. Sitting on a rock by the stream, I took care not to squish an ant or tell irreverent jokes to the clear water, not imposing for once. A crawdad emerged from under a rock. This is not news, but I thought you might like to know. We got this day in history every week. And this one is Happy Birthday Jimmy Stewart. Born 1908 in Indiana, Pennsylvania. Degreed in architecture, flew in World War II, gave us great movies. Merry Christmas, Emporium! Gotta love It's a Wonderful Life. Carol's Appalachian Word of the Week. Hope may die. Maybe short for hope to die if I'm telling a lie. Now we have a picture. You can't see it on the podcast. You can kind of see it on the video, except I pointed out printed it out on my laser printer. It's pretty smudgy. The Indigo Buntings are singing in the fields again, harbingers of summer. Check it out, joshurban.substack.com with a nice blue picture of Indigo Bunting. And from Emily Dickinson, a bit of one of her poems. I read this the other night. I was like, wow, man, I don't even know what it means, but it's awesome. It's about summer, I think. I taste a liquor never brewed from tankards scooped in pearl. Whoops, that's a typo. Scooped in pearl. Not all the vats upon the Rhine yield such an alcohol. Inebriate of air am I, and debauchee of dew, reeling through endless summer days from inns of molten blue. When the landlords turn the drunken bee out of the foxglove's door, when butterflies renounce their drams, I shall but drink the more. So, if you've got something to say and you'd like to say it, feel free to write to us. That's me, the Nighthawk. A new old-fashioned way to connect, published weekly. You're invited to write back or just enjoy reading. Let's have some fun. It's a social paper. Send stories, etc. to P.O. Box 783, Rustburg, Virginia, 24588, or joshurban@protonmail.com. The back is something I write for the newspaper. Letters from Josh, a weekly update of Josh Urban's adventures on the farm and in the city, number 233, appearing in the Alta Vista Journal, etc., etc. Better than AstroTurf. It is syndicated. Won silver at the Virginia State Awards. I think everybody did, though, but that's another story. Howdy, folks, and welcome back to the show. This rain looks like green paint. It does the same thing. The fields rejoice, and the lawn is drinking it up. It'll be time to mow again. I'll cut the grumbling. It's hard to beat the smell of fresh-cut grass and the drone of the mower as proof that things are never as bad as they say on TV. Everyday life is a precious thing. Rattling along on the old rider on a sunny afternoon, I eyed the faded gold paint. Maybe the cloud of blue smoke got in my eye, but these things seem like chariots. Don't you remember the gleaming rows of mowers at the hardware store? They thrilled me as a boy. Red, black, green and yellow, orange. That new tire smell and sneaking aboard to grasp the steering wheel. The seat fit for a king someday. Time passed and I pushed many a row on foot. Then somebody spied the old mower under a tarp in the neighbor's yard. Dad, can we make a go-kart out of it? The men talked and shook hands, and a piece of rusty metal gashed Dad's hand open, and the stitches were tied up, and Mom calmed down, and we knocked a wasp's nest out from under the hood, and then we had it. Nobody had a driver's license, but who cared? We had wheels. We cooed over the rusty monstrosity, blind as a mother with an ugly baby. It's an 8 horsepower. What a giddy feeling driving it around, or maybe it was the carbon monoxide and all the other fumes. Smells like victory. A good lawn wasn't the point. Low-speed racing was. But you need 2 to compete. A brother found a little rear-engine rider with tired red paint. We called it the Ladybug. We didn't need to mow after that muddy spring of motorsports in the backyard. The lawn never stood a chance. And that foul 8 horsepower beast that nearly put Dad in the hospital and us boys over the moon, we christened it the Plague. Somebody made a stencil with Gothic letters and a silhouette of a rat. Parts aren't cheap when you're a kid. Instead of lemonade, we made a few shirts for our uncle's sponsor, Team Plague Racing, with a rat. It paid for the carburetor rebuild. The grass grew again and again. Strangers cut the childhood lawn. The racing team lives in 2 states. I think the plague rusted away, but we still work on engines. Now I clatter up and down hills in my new yard, leaning over the spinning left wheel when the wet grass gets it stuck, giving it a lurch and holler, giddy up, over the roar. And a stick catches the blades with a clang. Sometimes I even remember that old plague. Another type of plague swept the land not too long ago. I'm still trying to make sense of what happened with COVID. Did we almost lose everything or almost give it all away? Will it happen again? Will we let it? I don't know much. I didn't know how much the everyday mattered until it vanished. Kitty Callan, that old singer, sings it right. Little things mean a lot. Now I treasure them. Cutting the grass can be a drag, but I remember those days of boyhood wishing and the recent era when everything almost snapped in 2. I get to ride a chariot on a sunny day. It's real, and boy, does it remind me. Sure beats AstroTurf. Is it too good to be true? I guess that depends on us. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment, drop a request, and we'll see you next time. If you want to read this, joshurban.substack.com or always joshurban.com. And if you're listening, soundcloud.com/thesignalman. I think I forgot my password. We've got to figure that out. To be continued. We'll see you then.